What's up, welcome to Versus. When we last talked to you guys, we were at the end of the curse of Humpty Dumpty. Wendy was alive. Humpty Dumpty was a doll. He was around. But forget everything you knew, because we're moving on to the curse of Humpty Dumpty 2, the cult of Humpty Dumpty. Will, how are you today?
I mean, aside from talking about this movie, I'm doing great.
All right.
But I am very eager to just absolutely tear this movie apart.
Well, let's get into that trailer. Before we do that, these people have got to see what we're dealing with.
You are going to help us to polish this place into paradise.
You girls have lost the plot. There is no killer doll running around. Something is going on.
And in return, I'm going to enlist you on a mission to save the universe.
That's one of those old school trailers because it says the curse of Humpty Dumpty 2 on it, but this was marketed as the cult of Humpty Dumpty because they couldn't stand to not rip off the how Child's Play went through their movies. Will, initial thoughts on cult of Humpty Dumpty?
This came when I started on this little endeavor of ours. I thought I understood what I was getting into, and when I watched when I watched The Curse of Humpty Dumpty, I'm like, okay, not great, but I see what they're going for. Let's see where this is going, and then they did the Jagged Edge thing, and here's the sequel. The first film means nothing to us. Like, okay. No, this, if I would say that this movie is dumber than a bag of hammers, but no, a bag of hammers could actually put out Shakespeare compared to this film. Like, I cannot believe that there wasn't any kind of continuity. Like, it's baffling. Even when Jagged Edge standards, this is still baffling that this movie is this bad.
Yeah, jumping right into it, like I said, when the last Humpty Dumpty movie ended in a way that it was very clear. It was very clear that one of two things was true: either Humpty Dumpty is real or that lady's crazy. And so you could have gone in either one of those two directions and started the movie from there. But this movie starts with somebody reassembling or assembling a second Humpty Dumpty doll. And then apparently just by putting the pieces together in the right order, not through any other incantations or anything like that, if you just happen to assemble the pieces to Humpty Dumpty together, he comes to life.
Yeah, and I don't know where people keep finding that face, but it's like none of the other parts actually match up. The wardrobe matched up, but it's just the face. So apparently,
the hardest thing that face has to be the hardest thing to find. Because it is a ratty rubber, like Mad Balls mask, and it's got to be a one-of-a-kind item.
It would have to be, yeah. But yeah, I just solely don't understand the logic and how they thought that no one was going to notice.
But and then here's the other thing, right? So this girl is assembling it, knows how to assemble it correctly, knows what he's supposed to look like, but has no foresight into the fact that the second she puts him together, he's going to murder her. And honestly, given the other lore they give you in this movie, it doesn't really make any sense that he would murder her.
But here's the thing, though. Like, as we're going to discover in this, as we delve deeper into this movie, the continuity is not continuous. The lore doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's clear that whatever someone decided, hey, wouldn't it be interesting if,
yes,
is what they put in. Even if it has nothing to do with like the last 10 minutes of what happened, the last 20 minutes, the last 70 minutes. This movie lasts way longer than it should.
I feel like this was a slasher movie script about like a ecological program / cult, right? Where, they were going to bring all these girls in and kill them. And then somebody was like, yo, this Humpty Dumpty property is pretty hot. Can we make this movie about the eco cult a Humpty Dumpty movie? And they're like, yeah, let's do that. Like, can we use the set from Medusa and Amityville Scarecrow? Can we use the same set? Yes, you can. Awesome, let's do it. And then they made this movie.
Like, this is like, it's very obvious that this was working on such a shoestring that's like they are very visibly recycling sets. But hey, if you're going to make this a go green movie, you better recycle. That's all I'm saying.
True that. A lot of powerful ecological messages are spread in this movie.
I'm going to enlist you on a mission to save the universe.
Well, let's get into let's set the scene. All right. So the opening scene is where they're building Humpty Dumpty. The first scene in the actual movie after the cold open is there are 5 generic girls who are supposed to be of college age, but they're not of college age. They're at least slightly older. And they're in a dorm room, and it's like the facts of life, right? And then Mrs. Garrett, whose name is Mrs. Harity, comes in, and she's like, you girls kind of suck at being students, so we're going to walk from the school to the eco commune, and you're going to have a hard week's worth of work, and there's this guy that I'm in love with that runs it. And it's just a ton of weird shit. A lot of facts are dumped on you that make 0 sense.
Sorry, miss, we were up all night.
Well, I think the reason why they dump it on you is because they assume that you're not going to pay attention. But it's a stupid assumption because like this isn't like, say, Sorority House Massacre 2 where things don't make sense. They just show you bare tits.
The movie actually makes more sense than this. Don't you dare defame Sorority House Massacre 2.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
But even like I didn't find much sense in it, but hey, tits. But
so these girls apparently they're bad girls because they had a party the night before they talked to the headmistress. So yeah, that's worth her basically, spoiler alert, leading them to their death. Because obviously we learn that the headmistress is in on this blood cult with the head of the commune and the mayor of the town and a bunch of other people. So like it just so happens that these girls happen to go to this lady's school and she's going to take them. It's very convenient.
Because it's time to give you the rules at our school are important. But at our destination, they are sacrosanct. You are about to spend a week in a place with rules that will one day save the world.
Even for a slasher movie. They bring them there. And basically they're slaves there because they're told not to question anything. They've turned their phones over. They're put in the the prostitutes' caravans from Medusa. There's a weird man-child who's also there, who's like the go-between. He makes the salads.
You should go back to your friends.
Come on, I need more than that. More, please. Oh, thanks.
It's a lot of weirdness. There's lots of talks about taking dumps.
And there'll be plenty more food in the morning. After you've had a bowel movement.
And making food.
Yes, Lisa.
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
The more we excrete, the more we complete. What does that mean?
We don't keep animals at Green Clans. We are a self-sufficient composter. Our toilet system runs directly into the growing zone so that we can spread your natural energies created by your bowels.
Often in the same sentence.
Yes, in the same sentence. Like the toilets go directly into the fields where they grow the vegetables for the salads they eat. And this is that's a way to do things, though it's not exactly how fertilizer works. But hey, we'll just put that on the ever-growing list of things that Jagged Edge doesn't understand.
I mean, to be fair, it's very clear to me because I believe this movie came out. It came out after the fact. But if it happened in a Ridley Scott film, it clearly has to make sense, right?
Of course, yeah, definitely. Why not? I believe in that movie that we're referencing. It wasn't like it was going through like a septic system and then into. It was fresh. It was fresh from the tap.
Do you expect the filmmakers to pay that much attention? Come on.
No, I don't.
No, it's very obvious they didn't. This is the film they gave us.
Yeah, and so like they have to turn their phones over. There's a whole bunch of crap. There's a bunch of like arbitrary rules they put on these girls. Of course, one girl sneaks the phone in. They're not allowed to have sex with anybody. One girl tries to have sex with like the man-child. Like everyone's they're all over the place. These girls are they're wild. And of course, this is a standard Jagged Edge core film where there's maybe sex was gonna happen, but nobody was getting naked, and nobody was ever at risk of seeing anything that would be R-rated in this movie. And then they just kind of systematically kill these girls.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Let's talk about that a little bit. And there's no rhyme or reason as to who kills the girls. Sometimes the creepy dude who runs the place is killing the girls. Sometimes you got Humpty Dumpty, who is real. Spoiler alert from the first movie, he's real. So if we retroactively go back to the first movie, he really did kill all those people, I guess, because he's real. Will.
Just like Rambo wasn't, apparently wasn't about a soldier with PTSD, and the rest of the films are about Rambo being a badass. Apparently, no. The one interesting concept that Curse of Humpty Dumpty had for it, we're just going to completely ignore and make him a trickster god, but the trickster god doesn't have to do the killings, or he's a puppet for the rich people, or Magic 8-Ball, what are you?
The only thing that
the
only continuity thing they kind of give us is there's a throwaway line where they're like, yeah, if you're close to Humpty Dumpty, if you're part of the ritual of Humpty Dumpty, you will suffer memory issues.
Does she fit the specifications, Crystal?
Crystal.
Oh, yes, that's me. What is it?
Does she fit the specifications or not?
Don't speak to her like that. You should know that absent-mindedness is a side effect of a connection to Humpty.
It's like, oh, so it's a side effect of Humpty Dumpty being around. That's sad. But I think the one scene that we have to talk about is the scene where they do their meditation yoga stuff, and it becomes like a weird dance sequence between everybody and Humpty Dumpty.
Feel the energy run through your body. Feel Mother Earth coming up to your vagina and entering your body. She will be everything you need.
Yeah. Like, every now and then, Jagged Edge gives us a dance sequence. But interestingly enough, it's almost the exact same dance sequence where there's no rhythm, lots of arm movements, and just turning around. Like, you can't choreograph this. You're just like obviously it was like they're just like, okay, whoever is in the costume, whatever mobility they could have, they just improvise and then just told everyone to do that same shit.
With her clean hands and rest it slowly on your nose.
Like, yeah.
And let's talk about the mobility that the actor, it's actually Bao Tu, the same guy that played the genie in Conjuring the Genie. This guy just loves getting shit on by Jagged Edge because they put him in all these costumes where, like, he is, like, fucked. Like, he can't talk in the genie costume. In this costume, he has to run like he shit his pants. Every time he runs, I think it's because if he runs too fast, that mask is going to fall off.
Oh, yeah.
And he's wearing like weird old clown clothes. Like it's not a very mobile costume. Yet they add so many chase sequences to this movie where, like, basically, if you could run at all, you're gonna burn this dude bad.
Yeah, like it almost would have been scarier had they just taken a page off of, like, out of like the Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees book, where it's like, okay, we're running as fast as we can. They're just trudge. Like, that would have been infinitely better than watching this dude like high step up. And just like do whatever he's fucking doing. It's like that's just humiliating. Just don't do it. Don't.
It's bad. It's real bad. And also, I think this was the first. I mean, I've seen this movie before, but this was one of the first Jagged Edge movies where I was like, why doesn't somebody, like, he's a short dude, why doesn't somebody just front kick, like, just full on, like, just Bruce Lee front kick this motherfucker right in the solar plexus, send him flying, like he can't take a kick like that. No way. Like, no. If you full force hit him with a boot to the chest, this guy's gonna go down.
Well, even if you like kick him in the balls, even though the doll doesn't have balls, I'm sure like these girls have like some muscle tone to their legs. Like, they can easily kick him so hard he's being lifted up off the ground, and at that point he's going to fall down, and then you just wail on him.
He's made of metal.
Yeah. Like they're.
Yeah, but as we go on, like, one girl's killed in the showers, one girl's killed in the garage. Like, they're just dispatched in numerous stupid ways. But we find out that they actually, as part, like, it's kind of like a cabin in the woods thing, I guess, because like all of the girls had roles. Like, one doesn't listen to rules, one is a whore, one is a deserter. And then for some reason, one of the girls, Isla, they give her like a book on Humpty Dumpty. Like, for some reason, she has a book that she was given. And it basically like tells them, like, oh, they've summoned a trickster god. Oh, like, why? Why would you do that?
There. Look. Fuck. Yeah, right, isn't what the fuck?
understand that.
I don't remember her I thought for some reason I remember her coming into possession of it somehow. I don't remember them flat out giving it to her, but
they do because they refer to her as the keeper of the books.
That's a good point. Yeah,
they gave that book to her, so the whole I guess plot device. I've never ever in a horror movie, except in maybe corny older James Bond movies, does the bad guy stop and give you all the information you need just to know you're being fucked over. God, it's very talking about this movie is very frustrating. And then
it's very obvious that they gave her the book then under the assumption that she was never going to read the book.
Yes.
It's so maybe this is the one character that makes the token one smart decision, but it's not like reading the book does any good.
It does not. But we do learn, again, weirdly similar to Child's Play, again, that Humpty Dumpty has a heart inside of him. And if you destroy his heart, you destroy him, which is really weird because that's the same advice they give to kill Chucky in Child's Play. But I digress, Jagged Edge.
It says that Humpty feeds on blood because it has a human heart. It needs blood to give it power.
And then they also but he needs human blood to survive. Is he a vampire? I don't know. He's a trickster guy. Okay, blah. They have no the writers, the characters, the directors, the fans. Nobody has any fucking idea what Humpty Dumpty is, aside from they put the nursery rhyme in the trailer, which has nothing to do with the movie, and he has an egg-shaped head, I guess. But it all leads up to this gigantic pagan sacrifice where just the one girl, Amelia, is the only girl that's left, and she has some weird backstory they allude to a bunch of times. Hold on, we're gonna get to that. So the cult there, if she dies, they're gonna get their wishes granted. Oh, they also have to kill the guy Cody, I guess, because he's their son. So they kill him. He's totally shocked.
You see that at least that one's actually covered with sacrificing the firstborn son.
Yes. But the big reveal is that Amelia is tied to a chair. She's tied to a chair or a stake. She's tied to something, right? And then she addresses Humpty Dumpty. And she's like, well, killing the firstborn makes it so that person can have control over you, right? And he's like, yeah. But it turns out Amelia had an abortion, so she plays the abortion card, and she gains control of Humpty. Listen up, ladies. If you go to the abortion clinic, just know one of the great side effects of aborting that child is you get control. Only if it's your first abortion. On your first abortion, you can control Humpty Dumpty. That is something that Jagged Edge has told me, so it must be true.
You have to grant the wish of those that sacrifice their firstborn, right?
That's right.
Who's talking to you? Well, I already killed mine.
She announces her abortion, which is funny because it's not like she just had the abortion. The abortion preceded the events of the movie, which means throughout the entirety of the movie, she therefore should have had control over Humpty Dumpty the entire fucking time. But it took her to have the abortion and then realize it and then invoke her abortion coupon on Humpty Dumpty to get control of Humpty Dumpty, which she does. And her wish is that he just fucking kills everybody. And he does, and nobody defends themselves.
No.
They literally just no, while this shambling, almost dwarf person literally just walks up to them and stabs them. Run, kick him, do a quick shuffle to the side, jump to the left, do whatever you need to do. You could have survived, and you didn't.
And here's where it somehow gets even dumber, because after her wish is granted, all of a sudden he's back to trying to kill her.
And she unties herself somehow. We don't see her untie herself,
Right.
but suddenly she's not tied up anymore.
Yeah,
And
apparently
she-
they can suffer pagan god, but they can't tie a slip knot. Got it.
She addresses Humpty Dumpty. She's like, "Have you killed everybody?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Do I still have control over you?" And he says, "No."
No.
Oh shit.
So you've granted my wish then? Do I still have power over you?
So another chase sequence occurs. And then, honestly, I don't give a fuck about spoiling the entire movie. Like, she literally just like they run back to the garage where the one girl was killed, and she just like stabs him. And that's the end of the fucking movie. Then she walks out until the cops come, and she says she doesn't remember anything. The Cult of Humpty Dumpty.
What happened?
I don't remember.
This is a film. I've used this description before on some of these films. This is a perfect example of a film where instead of like your typical horror film hoping that the characters will live, you just understand why these characters needed to die.
Yeah, they just
Like,
all suck.
This is this is essentially what the Darwin Awards were created for. These are we are not going to be missing anyone once these lines are cut. Once these moral couples are shuffled off, no one's going to be missing these people. But that's the one thing that actually bothers me too, is that the amount of people that they're pulling from the sorority, none of them have families. None of them have people that they would care about, and they're just sending them to their deaths. Really, none of them?
Yeah.
Or at least address that. This movie isn't that long, but it was long enough that you could have taken 2 seconds. So, oh well, this is like the orphan dormitory, or we singled them out for this reason. Not, oh well, we all caught them drinking beer once. They must die.
Right. It's a weird way to choose people. And again, it's exactly what Jagged Edge would do. It's like, oh, this is weird. And didn't you get the impression that like at the Green Cleanse cult, this isn't the first rodeo? Like they've done this before. Also, not
Of
to
course
mention,
they've done this before. They talked about it.
yeah, the girl dies in the beginning. So they've done all this before, yet no one seems to realize that anyone who goes to this weird eco cult doesn't come back.
Or that there weren't rumors about it.
It's the same thing with the brothel and the trailer park brothel from the Medusa series. It's like you cannot operate. This business cannot operate. It cannot operate. There is no way it operates.
Well, and that's the thing. Like not only they're reusing sets, but they're reusing plot devices.
Yeah.
Hey, we recycle here, I guess.
Yeah. Well, anyway, as we've done every week, hopefully we've discouraged you from watching The Cult of Humpty Dumpty. But if we didn't, Will has prepared a drink for us. Not that drink, but he has a drink that if you want to sit down with you and your friends, we'll give you a drink. We'll give you some drinking games. What is the drink we're talking about this week, Will?
Jesus Christ, I really after discussing this, I really wish this was just filled with this particular cocktail. But as I mentioned before, because we're discussing a trilogy, I wanted to see if I could find a trilogy of cocktails for you. And boy, oh boy, did I find a trilogy of cocktails. And this one has probably the most apt name humanly possible. If you remember last week's was just called Humpty Dumpty. It was a lost cocktail. Well, we have, and I shit you not, Humpty Dumpty Resurrected. Now it took John and I a while to find this off of off of the website this came off of. Shout out to mydailycocktails.com for providing us with this hilarity. But here is this week's drink. You take 1 ounce of brandy. You take 1.5 ounces of ale. Already, this is going to get you nice and fucked up. But it continues. A 1/4 ounce of lemon juice. Just a dash of an Angostura bitters. I'm sure you can find, I'm sure you can do whatever bitters you want. This is what they recommend. So the way you make this, you place 4 ice cubes in the mixing glass, add all the ingredients, you stir, and then you strain it into an aperitif glass. So it's obviously not going to be too big, but it's going to be strong. And you put a little, put a dash, put a little lemon peel in there. It's going to be delicious, or not. Either way, it's gonna get you. It's gonna get you pickled.
All right, let's talk about when you're going to drink this drink. Will, do you have any things that happen a lot in this movie where you should drink the drink to?
Okay, so whenever there is an unnecessary jet of blood, you have to take 1 drink. Despite the fact that Humpty Dumpty lives off blood, whenever it hits his face, you have to take another one. Whenever Humpty stabs and then feeds, which is unreasonable.
You could just feed with those teeth. And he does later in the movie. He could just feed. He chooses not to. He stabs, but he could just. His teeth are huge. He has the predator's mouth, and he doesn't use it.
Then you take a 1. Here's where you start taking 2. If this doesn't get you shit faced enough. Whenever you see someone with a beer bottle in their hand or talks about alcohol, you take 2 drinks. Whenever someone either talks about sex or uses the word whore, take 2 drinks. Whenever someone talks about taking a dump, and this happens a bit, take 2 drinks.
Because that happens. Take half a sip, because that happens a lot. I would say I would add a little bit too for like your side drink, or if you just totally do an alternative game. Every time you would tell Steve, "Fuck you," take a drink. You'll finish your drink very quick. Every time the character Steve listening, and if he said it to you, you would say "fuck you" right to his face. Take a sip.
Oh my God! I think after the 3rd time there would just be drunk John.
Yeah. That being said, that's all we got for you this week on Versus. But hey, hold your horses. Remember, at the end of this movie, Amelia's alive. Humpty Dumpty is dead. But there is a 3rd movie, The Madness of Humpty Dumpty. We'll be covering that next week on Versus. I have not seen The Madness of Humpty Dumpty yet. I cannot wait to see what they do. I imagine this would have nothing to do with the first 2 movies. But if you made it this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Mondays are Versus. Thursdays is Why We Love Horror and Horror Headlines, and Fridays is Why We Love Horror Trivia. We'll be here with you next week. We appreciate you tuning in. This has been Versus.